the first thing, and I think this is just in general, not just about my work, just in terms of how I live my life in general, is that I do have this thing that I don't conform in terms of work and in terms of my personal life. I do like to work in a way that stands out, and not to say that I definitely don't like the spotlight, but I like for my work to speak for itself in terms of how, and especially in the sense how I engage with patients. I think we are coming out of an old paradigm of, doctors that, one thing I loved about, UCT and the way that we were taught medicine, we had this course that literally ran throughout the 6 years. It was called Becoming a Doctor. And it was like a counseling session where we were being taught that actually it's not just about going in and saying, hey, you've got the flu and you're going to do this and you're going to do that. So for me, I like to engage not just people, but my patients. We engage each other as human beings. That thing of Ubuntu must constantly be there. So to be honest, and I think, my patients would tell you and my family would tell you that I'm very caring, very kind, gentle, patient, and I like having conversations, with my patients. And I like one big thing that I love about, I think, just where I've grown up is that fortunately I am multilingual, so that also helps a lot. So I like engaging my patients in their languages because you find that sometimes, when there's a huge language barrier, you tend to miss things. So I think that's one thing that has helped me a lot over the years, that if you walk in and you're Venda, you know what, we're going to talk in Venda. You walk in and you're Xhosa, we're going to engage. And people are a lot more comfortable. Patients will open up to you more. But I also have that thing that I'll give you the time. I think what brought me down here into the GP space, I've spent the last decade as a casualty or an emergency medicine doctor. So obviously in that space, we don't really engage with patients a lot. Obviously they come in acute. It's literally like a one sentence, I fell and broke my leg. You don't really get a chance to then sit down and, delve into other things. So I think I was naturally probably going to lead into the GP space as, I got tired and I needed something a little bit more settled and a little more flexible, especially in terms of family and just mental health and just, being an all round, well balanced being. So in this space, I get to sit down, patients come in, and, strange enough, once you do that, you pick up so many things. Somebody will come in and say, I have a cough, but by the time you've actually done a thorough, proper history, you'll actually end up picking up so many other things that, even they're not aware of. And, we learn so much from each other. So strangely enough, I always say, even with consultations, it's not just about a patient coming to, engage with me and find out what's wrong. And then, I give them an injection, I give them a script. We all learn from each other on a daily basis. And that's something that I absolutely love about now being in this space. Okay, so 3 interesting things about me. All right, so number one, I am a huge sci-fi buff, and yeah, but people are always like, what? But yes, I'm a big sci-fi buff. I am a Trekkie. So honestly, if I'm not at work, if I'm not playing with my kids, I'm literally in front. I'm on Netflix and I'm watching something sci-fi. So that's the one big thing about me. Second thing, actually, the dancing thing. I'm actually quite a good dancer. The knees are no longer allowing for me to do some of the things I could do before, but love to dance. I absolutely love music, and I have a very broad ear in terms of music. You'll find me. I'm listening to Britney Spears, then it's Jimmy Lulu, and then I'm in my R&B. So love music a lot. That's pretty much, yeah. Let's see. Third interesting thing about me. I guess I'd say you can't pin me down. I'm so varied. So unless once you get to know me, like literally half my family and friends think I'm an introvert, the other half think I'm an extrovert. I'm just one of those people. Once you get comfortable, or I'm comfortable with you, then good to go, easy. I easily fit into any space. I can chill with you in a tavern, or we can be in the Michelangelo, having high tea, and we can move and go bungee jumping. So yeah, my interests are quite varied. But in general, people think I'm a very quiet, intimidating person, but actually I'm not. So I'm trying to shake that off. But yeah, that's pretty much me. Yeah. So yeah, I am Dr. Lindelani Mutshekwane. Well, just a little bit about that. Lindelani Muvenda. Born and bred in Johannesburg, but yeah, roots are in Limpopo. AllHealth SA was actually it's still a new idea. It's pretty much about a year old. So as I said, I've spent the last 10 years working in hospitals. And I just got to a point where I realized that I was just very unhappy. I'd wake up and I'd go to work, and there was just a deep sense of dissatisfaction in terms of what I'm doing, even just working in hospital and working for other people. So I think that's where the idea was born. Is initially the plan was that, like most doctors, it was I'll go and I'll specialize, become a specialist. That's generally the big plan. But I also just felt that really, really wasn't the direction that, my mind or my spirit was going into. So then, that this is where the idea was born. So I think I was sitting with I actually went to a life coach because I was literally like, I'm at a T junction and I'm not sure which way we should go. So we did a couple of sessions, and in the end, I think the one big thing was I'm tired of working for other people. That was pretty much a big thing. So obviously, then you're going to go and start your own thing. And then I think then the second thing was that fine, even if you are going to work for yourself, are you going to stay clinical, or do you want to go into corporate, which is also another avenue that we have as doctors. And for me, I was like, I really do still have that thing that I still want to see patients. I want to see patients. So then, I was like, yeah, open up a practice. So also AllHealth SA. So because obviously a lot of people know that when GPs open practices, it's usually doctor. Why is it? Why did we, sort of come up with a name and not just call it Dr. Mutshekwani? The reason why is that I have a lot of, so obviously there's the vision board that I came up with. So for me, the GP practice is actually just the first step. There's a lot that I want to do with this brand. I'm actually, I think from next year I'll be doing occupational medicine. So there's going to be that aspect. There'll be the travel medicine aspect. We also have a plan in terms of also building up a subset where we're doing pharmaceuticals and equipment. So that's why we needed a name that hopefully within the next 5 to 10 years, there'll be the GP practice, the OP practice, the travel clinic, the equipment. So there's a big vision behind AllHealth, and this is just step one. So yeah, as I said, this is step one of AllHealth SA. So this is the GP practice. So yeah, so it's general family, pediatric, dealing with the young, dealing with the old, just general family medicine. So a lot of people say, what is that? What's the difference between that and what, specialists and everybody else does? So the GP is pretty much you're the first step. We're the first step. We're doing what we call primary health care. So first step in terms of when something is wrong, this is the first door you walk into. And obviously I try and pick up what the issue is. With GPs generally, because obviously we treat everything, whether you're coming in and you're pregnant, or you've hurt your toe, or your back hurts, pretty much anything and everything. It's what I loved about emergency medicine, because I think I found I didn't quite fit into one aspect of medicine. I like the idea that I can see 10 patients and all of them are 10 completely different things. I feel like it keeps my mind alive, or it keeps, the knowledge that I learned over the years alive. So yeah, so general, family, children, big thing about primary health care. As you know, with the way the world is moving, what the WHO wants more from us, and what the South African government has actually been trying to do, and even with this advent of NHI, big thing about wellness and preventative medicine. So I'm a big believer in that. I do say prevention is better than cure. So that is that's something that I push a lot with my patients. Even if you came here for a cough, once I'm done with your cough, then are we going to, have you done this, with your ladies? Have you done your pap smear? Has your prostate? I love that part because we pick up so many things, before things get serious. And as I said, if you look at first world countries, you look at the UK, the way their health system works. Because obviously at the moment, the way we are working, our medicine is very reactive. People are already very sick, sick and dying, and we're trying to stop the tap from flowing. Where else, if we get to that point where we do something like NHI really well, where we open up, especially the primary health care in a proper way, properly well resourced, then we can actually get to a point where we've got less sick people, less dying people, and the health system isn't so overburdened as it is now, because as I said, we're doing reactive medicine more than preventative or proactive, just before people get to the worst case scenarios. So that's the big thing about then the GP practice. So mental health it's actually very strange, because I'll tell you about the way that we learned about it. And I mean, it's not, I didn't go to med school 30 years ago. So when we learned about just medicine in general, I think from day one, the approach was, we're going to teach you guys about the human body, because it's not just about the body. So they call it, you always approach any diagnosis or any patient. There's the bio, there's the psycho, and there's the social. Okay, so it was called the biopsychosocial approach. And you approach it with anything and everything, whether somebody's coming in, as I said, with a blocked nose, whatever, that's the approach. So the big thing about that was, obviously there's the bio, which is the body or the human body or the physical part. There's the psycho, which is then the mental part, and then there's the social, which is very important in our communities, that, how is the community or the environment that somebody lives in, how does that affect their health? So mental health, obviously, it's become it's not new, but it's become almost like we're more aware of it. One of the big diagnoses I actually give to patients here is, somebody will come to you and they'll give you a myriad of just very weird, strange symptoms and things they're going through. And patients hate to hear this, I'll tell you this, you'll go through everything and they really want you to come up with this amazing diagnosis, and you'll tell them that, no, you're stressed, you're under stress, you're fatigued, you're exhausted. And people don't understand that, okay, but now how is it that, but it's causing me a headache and it's giving me back pain and whatever. So people underestimate what the mind can do to the body. So it's always been something that it seems like a cliche or even a bit of a joke. When we say stress can kill you, it literally can. You can literally be so stressed that you end up having a heart attack. You can be so stressed that you end up having a stroke, which is why mental health is becoming such a big thing. And I think especially in the African community, I'll say, because we didn't grow up. I mean, we knew about it, but I mean, you'd see things about depression and bipolar, all these things on TV. And I mean, you would have family members and friends that you hear are, suffering from these things, but it was always hush hush. No one really wants to talk about it. No one really wants to explain it. And one of the big moves that we're so happy with within the last few years is that on our side, it was always, you pick this up, you quickly send the patient to the psychiatrist or psychologist, you don't deal with it. And we sort of were coming back because they're saying it's too much, because it's a big problem. You can't just have those few psychiatrists or those few psychologists dealing with this. We all need to deal with this. So even as GPs, we now also deal with mental health. We can diagnose, we can counsel, we can start therapy. And obviously, if we can see that, no, this is beyond me, then we escalate. In the past, it's something that we would all just push away quickly. We'd just say, okay, I think you're depressed, and then give you a letter, go and see the psychiatrist. Well, else now, we've got a bigger responsibility now to educate patients about, and validate their feelings, because I think that's a big thing about mental health, is that a lot of people know exactly what's going on, but they just don't have anybody to talk to. They don't have anyone that will actually listen and validate what it is that they're going through. So as GPs, the big thing, and even in the emergency department, we're saying that, no, guys, let's be better. Let's be better doctors in terms of, especially because we all try to shy away a bit from psychiatry, because it's about talking, and no one wants to talk too much. But definitely, and it's funny because in the ED, we literally tell a patient, go and see your GP. If you want to talk, go and see your GP, go and see the psychiatrist. So we say, here, if you're here to talk about that, let's talk, and let's find a plan. And you don't shush, you don't shush them away. You say, I'm going to send you to this person, but we're all going to work together as a team, because mental health, that's the other thing. It has to be approached with, we call it a multidisciplinary team. There's the GP, there's the psychiatrist, there's a psychologist, and we all have our different parts to play. There's the family also. So sometimes you need to bring in a social worker, because, as I said, if you go into what I call that biopsychosocial approach, if you leave out what's going on at home, because then you have to find out, why is this person in this situation? Is it, an actual chemical issue, something that they were genetically predisposed to? Is it something going on at home, something going on at school, something going on at work? So if you just talk about it and you don't deal with those, then the person doesn't get better. So it's really something that we have to get better. We have to get better ourselves, and recognizing, even with a lot of our patients, and you see it quite easily. I mean, you'll have a patient who every week, they're coming with something new, and if you actually don't just sit down with that person and say, what's going on? I'm seeing you every week. Obviously we've looked at the physical part. Let's talk about, what's going on in your life, and you'll find that that's where all the mental health issues come out. There's very few people in this world that don't have mental health issues, Even I, as a doctor, I'll tell you, I have my own mental health issues. Everybody's got something. You just have to find, the right space to be able to open up and, hopefully manage and deal with whatever it is, that you're going through. So I think I love what you've brought up, because one thing that we're actually now dealing with on a very serious note as GPs is obesity. And even those that do go to the gym. So people generally don't have a good understanding about how to stay healthy, because you'll have somebody who's going to the gym, but they're not eating well, or you'll have somebody who's eating well and, following a 100% diet. There's no such thing, but, they say, I'm eating all the right things, but they're not exercising and they're not gymming. So for me, a big thing, my first big thing that I say to patients, and I think you've also just said it now, it's habit and it's discipline. You can't, and especially now we come out of winter, everybody's saying, oh no, I'm getting ready for my summer body. No, once you make that decision, it's for life. So I advocate lifestyle changes. I hate the word diet, actually. I never tell someone you're going to go on a diet. We say we're going to change the way you live, because it's not just for now, it's forever. Because if you say I'm going on a diet or I'm going to start gymming just for the next few weeks, once you stop, you go back to the shape that you were in before. So I advocate to people about change your life, change the way that you eat, change the way that you, in terms of eating, drinking, smoking, all those things. It's not just for now or for the summer body of 2023, it's for the rest of your life. And another big thing is that if I'm sitting here and I'm talking to, and especially with the adults, and I say, the changes that you're going to make now, you're going to go home and you're also going to teach this to whoever it is that you're living with. So you're not going to go home and buy broccoli just for yourself. You're buying for the whole family. You're going to change the way your entire family, because they learn this from you. They actually learn the preventative care from you also, so that they don't also end up, at the doctor. If you can do this well and you can show everyone, not just your family and your friends, that actually, guys, anything, let's be moderate about the things that we're doing. Let's eat well, let's exercise, and it's not just about going to the gym. Take a walk, you do some aerobics, but it must be part of, this is from, you said, you tell yourself, from today up until the day I die, twice a week I'm going to go for a walk. From now on, we're going to do portion control. From now on, if we are drinking and things, we're going to do things in moderation, and we're going to choose things that are going to do less that damage, and the intake will also be less than what it is that you're doing now. So that's my big word in this room, is we're going to make a lifestyle change. Yeah, it has to be for life. You have to tell yourself, it's not just, and I think that's the thing, and I'll talk about hypertensives, because a lot of them, you'll pick that up. And as I said, it's not just about saying, okay, you've got high blood pressure, here are the pills. No, because it's not just the pills that help the person get better. You have to talk about the diet. You have to go on a low sodium. There's an entire diet that they now need to adapt. You have to talk about exercising. They need to start conditioning their heart or their body to improve the blood pressure. You have to talk about, if they're smoking, you have to talk about them reducing and finally quitting smoking. You have to include all those things. It can't just be, here are pills, drink one every day, and I'll see you in 6 months. If you do that, that person will never get better, because they'll still be doing all the other things that might have caused the high blood pressure in the first place, or things that can make it worse. So that's another big part. I guess it's the nice thing about being a GP and having the time and space to sit with patients, because really, I think, and I mean, it also happens in government a lot, because there just isn't time. There isn't, the resources aren't there. They've got this, but the line, there's a difference between, I've got 2 patients, I can spend an hour with a patient and we can literally sit and have that really, really amazing plan. Whereas if you go down the road to the clinic, today is the day for hypertensives, you're going to find about 1,000 people waiting outside, and there's 2 sisters. They don't have the time or the space or the agency to have those conversations with patients, which is where, as I say, which is why something like NHI is so important, because then, to be honest, I'm a wasted resource. They're overwhelmed, and I'm sitting here, and I could, we could all together spread out what it is that we need to do, because as someone, as I said, I've worked in private for so long, it really is unfair, the way that patients in private, the care that they get, the communication, the advice, versus what is happening in public. The difference is just too great. It really is a matter between life and death, with public and private, and we really need to close that gap. So I think for me, as I said, preventative care, but one of those few, I know there's not a lot of doctors in private that are for NHI, but for me, I really am an advocate of it. And I'm really excited to see what will happen if they do get it right. Yeah. Yeah, so on my socials, yeah, which is something that we are going to improve. But yeah, I am essentially on all the social platforms. So AllHealth SA, we're on WhatsApp, we're on Instagram, on Facebook, on LinkedIn, and yeah, the website is also loading soon. So yeah, we are all there, and we'll be hopefully, have the time and space to have these conversations, or just put out some of this, especially preventative care content, onto all of those spaces. Well, okay, I think I can just, I know you were asking about, I think, the services that we offer here. So yeah, so obviously I just talked about general family medicine. Um, Big focus here also on women's health. Women's health, when we talk about women's health, it's all women's health. So We do offer, in terms of the pregnancy side. On my side, we do pregnancy sonar and some antenatal care. And as we're coming out of August Women's Month, a big thing that I'm also passionate about is pap smears and preventing cervical cancer. It's a big issue in South Africa. Also doing breast exams and also teaching women how to breast health actually. So women's health is also something I'm pretty passionate about, and it's something that I do help patients with here. So with my background in the emergency department, I do minor surgeries and procedures here. So yeah, if somebody has fallen and they've got a cut or an injury, we do suture, we do drain minor abscesses. So we do those things. And then the last one, a big thing that is very popular, I do a bit of aesthetic help. So we do IV vitamin drips here. There's a few that we offer. So yeah, that is a big service that is pretty much well liked around the area. So that is available here.